All right, hey guys, good to see you. So today I am back. I'm doing my thing. It's been a few weeks that I've been off. This guy with glasses, who looks just like me without a beard, no, not really, is Jared Moore. Jared is over at Mountain View Baptist Church in Tucson. He's come up to help me out today because, he's doing students. And what else do you do? So you're doing students?
I am the guy who wears every hat in the church. So I do students, I do college, I do technology. Basically, if it's anything involving millennials and younger, I'm there.
All right, so you do a lot. Good for you. I'm glad
Yeah.
you've shown up. You've told me all the great things that you do. He does a lot. Jared's good. That's why I called him. I said, I need help, man. I really do. I need help with just figuring out kind of how things are going to run for the summer, especially because in youth, Jared's been doing a lot of the stuff. I was actually at Mountain View. That's where I met him back in the day. So he's here to hang out with me. But today, I asked him to join us as we would talk about our 30-30 challenge. And so I'm going to show you something. And if you've not been around enough, or if it's been a little time, I do want to remind you, one of the things that we do here at the church is we go through and we kind of what's called our 30-30 challenge. And so on the 30-30 challenges, we just ask people that you find, 30 minutes a week over the next 30 days. And so essentially you're just trying to make time in your schedule for God, right? So some of you, maybe you don't have a quiet time. Some of you, maybe you do. You have time set aside to do Bible. But really, this is about taking this not only and building into your own life, and we want families to be able to do this with each other, but we want you to do this as a family together, right? That's the big deal, is finding time to sit down. Because I hope that you're doing more than just 30 minutes by yourself. But if you're not, it's a great way to start. But here we are, we're talking about taking it over the next 30 days, do 30 minutes a week, and do something with your kids. So, one of the things I'm showing Jared here, it's a good reminder if you're new to Royal Palms, we've been going through Cornerstones every week, except the weeks that I'm out on paternity leave. We're going through and we're talking, I'm going through this, and hopefully you're still doing it with your family, but a lot of questions about Jesus, a lot of questions about salvation. It's good for memorization. So let's talk about this, because I know that, you doing youth ministry, I've done youth ministry, that we have seen kind of what happens when it's not reinforced at home. So what are some of the things that you've run into when you see that parents don't take seriously the job of discipling their kids?
Well, I think it's the problem that we see in every youth ministry, which is it's a crucial time of their lives where there's so much change happening, and they're learning so much just through middle and high school, and there's so many changes going on. It's statistically, when we look at youth ministry as just like across the nation, we see that like 60, 70, 80% of teenagers that graduate don't end up going to church in their college years. They drop out. So in order to combat that, what I've seen and noticed throughout just my time in youth ministry over this last 7 years is that parents are the biggest part of youth ministry, period. And it's the discipleship at home that really seems to make or break whether or not a kid is going to drop out after he graduates high school.
Yes, that's interesting. I think it's the same thing that I've said. I think sometimes we want to say, well, Jared was such a great youth pastor and he was so good with the students when he was there, and that's why my kids are that way. But I think it's much deeper than how good the pastor was. I think it has to be, what did you do with it when you heard the message? What did you do as a parent? Did you spend time reinforcing it? Because when you look at it, really, I think that the job, what's so stressful about what you do, right, is that I think sometimes Christian parents think it's going to be okay. He's got this, and you've got your youth for you maybe 2 to 3 hours a week,
right?
As opposed to the world has them much longer than that. And mom and dad, you've got time with them if you aren't filling it with taking them to every volleyball and every soccer game and every baseball game, and not really spending time with them to disciple them too.
Yeah. I mean, just the amount of time they spend even with friends and with teachers at school. It's just so much time is given to other things than just handing them over to the church for 2 or 3 hours a week and hoping that by the time they hit senior year, then they are just an on fire Christian for God. And that's of course there's always exceptions to all this. The Holy Spirit works in the way He does, but at least the trend and the things that I've seen, it's the parents play such a vital role in the discipleship of kids. But with the time that you guys spend with your kids, that has to be done with a lot of that time has to be used discipling your kids, or and that helps make their faith their own, and not just coming to church because parents are making them to come to church.
Well, I mean, a verse that I always hit all the time is you look at Deuteronomy chapter 6 and you begin to see, like, what is Moses telling the people, right? That these are the things that you're to talk about them with your kids when you walk along the road, when you get up, when you lay down. Like the implication is, biblically speaking, it's the jobs of moms and dads to really be doing the hard work of ministry in their kids' lives. So by the time they're in with you guys over at Mountain View, or they're here with us and what we're doing upstairs at Revolution, like we're just the icing on the cake. Like we're that extra time that gets to maybe do a little bit more. But the hard work of like answering those hard questions, all that, I think really should be done by you guys as parents. Or if you're not parents yet, when you are. Or, if you're out of it, now you still can try to help play a role, whether you've got grandkids or nieces and nephews and things like that, of helping disciple in the home. I remember, so when I was in Tucson, another guy, who was a buddy of mine, he was a pastor there, and he told me a story how that it was graduation time, and one of the dads came to him and said, I'm worried, my son doesn't, I don't know what's going to happen once he leaves. I need you to spend time to teach him what it means to be a man of God. And my buddy, I don't know, he was a lot more outspoken and would probably be a little bit more blatant. But I know he was complaining to me on the side that, like, okay, what a terrible thing for this dad to have said, I need you to train him. But like that, if you really, biblically speaking, that dad should have been doing that all along the way. So I don't know, I know that that's still a problem across the board I think sometimes parents look at their job as, let me drop the kids off. You guys handle it. You're in seminary. You're doing your thing. You can handle it. You're the expert. I don't know those things. But I know that there's another set of parents. And that's one thing I really love that you guys do is parent involvement, right? I think there's that fine balance at youth ministry. And if you want to talk about that for just a second, I know we were having a lunch talk about, but share just kind of what you see as that balance between how, sometimes people think a youth ministry, maybe we shouldn't have too much parent involvement because the cool factor's gone, right?
Right.
But I do think having parents is important, and I think you've expressed how important that is too.
It's been great. When I first started I had that same philosophy of, no parents at youth group. Because kids they didn't want to be around their parents. They thought their parents were lame. I still have kids that are like that, but now I'm finding I've eased up on that. And actually, a lot of my core people who serve in the youth ministry at my church, they're the parents of their parents, and their kids are in the youth group. And the great thing about it is, it helps that these parents are already like pretty tight and close with their kids. And I don't have kids myself yet, and I'll have to get what the secret sauce is to maybe get to be tight with your kids like that. But it's been so vital just to have the kids feel comfortable with their parents being there, but at the same time, the parents they know what's going through their kids' lives, and they see what their life is like even at home, and they can help speak into not just their kids' life at youth group, but they can. Some of the things that they might say might be relevant to another kid who is, going through similar things at home, or just facing similar trends and things that are happening in their social and home life.
I always felt like in youth group too, um, having a set of families involved is important because for every set of good Christian kids who are in there who've got a stable home, there's a whole nother set that don't. And like that, you being a mom and a dad in a youth group helping um, can also play that role that maybe that kid will never have, right?
Right.
As a believing mother and father to speak into their life. And so I always felt like even when I was there, I had people like that who were helpful for that. You know, like that the kid's life was a disaster at home, but mom and dad from the workers, the helpers, really took them in and spent time with them.
And the thing is, too, is the parents, they want to be there, and they're really vested in not just their, I mean, they're really vested in their own kids, and I think that's a big part of it, and one of the big reasons why they're there serving the youth group. But they also see the value of just that generation of kids and what they're going through. You know, some of these the current Gen Z kids that are coming through youth ministry right now, they're the most connected generation that there is, but they're also the most lonely of generation. They don't have a lot of personal friendship, a lot of face-to-face relationships like previous generations had, and so I think if a lot of parents are seeing some of those challenges that I guess that the Gen Z generation has, and they are wanting to make a difference in some way, and so they're very vested. The ones I've seen have been very vested, especially parents who get involved in youth ministry are very vested in their kids, and they only want to see them develop and grow into really strong believers, and hopefully not become one of those statistics that happens after graduation.
I think, I think as we kind of close this out, I think, guys, one of the things I really want to see going forward at Royal Palms is some families step up to come talk with me, to help be a presence, be that mother and father that some of those kids may not have. Maybe, I know, have that conversation. Maybe it's not all the time, but have that conversation with your kid about maybe that might be something God's calling you to do if he is. But I think regardless of whether you say, hey, I'd like to be somebody just stable up there to help, I do think we need to kind of get back into this of like the real change is going to come, whether you're ever up there or not. The real change is going to come with you opening up that Bible, you being involved with what they're learning. As us as a church family, we do recap here, and so we're that essentially. We try to recap what's been going on. So if you're in kids, as our moms and dads get together for a small group, we're learning and we're recapping what had happened on Sunday, talking about the message. The kids are recapping what is talking on Sunday. This summer, we're going to kind of try to have a curriculum that we're still working on. I'm almost there. About to launch that for what's going to happen once we hit later next month. But the idea is as we go kind of lighter for the summer, we're going to go lighter for the fact that you need rest, but also to show that the burden of responsibility to disciple is on you as a mom and a dad. So take them with you. When you go camping, when you go fishing, when you go to the park, when you go out and you have that free evening, take them and share with them and talk with them as you go along the way. Anything else you want to say before you got to get home and get on the road?
Yeah, I mean, I guess I would just close with a story. Or, I was thinking if I had to give you guys a challenge, I guess it would be, discipleship is just you're doing life together. But also, I think you have to ask yourself the question of, how much do I really want to be invested in my kids, and how much do I really love them? There's a couple from my church. There's an older couple at my church right now, and so all their family lives up here in Phoenix, and they're actually moving away from our church after like dozens and dozens of years up here up to Scottsdale, and they're doing that because of their grandkids. They see that their parents, or I should say their son and daughter, but the parents of their grandkids they're not strong believers. They're not really that intentional about discipling their kids, and so that has the grandparents worried, and so they care and love their grandkids so much that they're uprooting their entire life that they've built in Tucson to try to make sure and reach their grandkids and disciple them and bring them up in the faith. And I think that's a really noble thing, and but it would in some aspects it would be unnecessary if it was if the parents were discipling. So parents are such a huge role in the kid's life, and again, I think it's one of those make it or break it things to where is this the kid's faith or is this their parents' faith at the end?
Hey man, I appreciate you sharing, talking with us, guys. Like I said, we're still back on it. We're gonna keep doing this. We're gonna still keep going this, even though we're getting near the end of the school year and kind of more towards our summer break. It's just a reminder that hopefully you're finding time. Whether that means you're opening up the Bible, like right now, I'm going through the book of Mark with my kids, and there's certain passages I kind of want to read a little faster because they're talking about topics that maybe they're not completely ready to process or understand. But I'm reading every single word to them. And I'll explain the stuff that I know they can grasp. Other things like, hey, a little bit older, you'll understand certain things. And we're actually going to probably jump to Genesis after that. And I'm going to have to fast forward through a couple of those things as well, just because it's going to be a little tricky to explain them to little ones. But, hey, we're done. Thanks for watching. And, guys, this guy, we were just talking, we planned. So if you're at Royal Palms, we're going to have something fun we're going to do with your church in August. So, no, July. We just said this. July. So get ready. We're going to hang out with some other church people. That's always fun. Yeah. And maybe, if you're watching, maybe you're a parent right now, you're going to hang out and be a chaperone and help us with what we've got cooked up, too. All right. Thanks, man. Have fun in Tucson. Goodbye. Now, for the rest of you, I'll see you on Sunday. All right.